select the test functions, select the COM, select the FM. This brings up the COM FM test page. On the left-hand side, we have all our test preconditions, and on the right-hand side, we have our in-test readings and values indicators. Like all of our tests, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a yellow config button, and this is used to configure the test. So if we hit the yellow config button, up pops the FM config page. The first selection is whether the test is going to be done over a cable connection to the radio or an antenna connection to the aircraft. I'm going to do an antenna test. The next three are the frequency, the power, and the power measurement. We give the operators the opportunity to change the different frequency preset or variable values, the measurement indications of the power, and whether we measure peak or average power. They can be simply changed by pressing the yellow button linked to each aspect. So if I wanted to change the frequency from a preset, I push the preset button, and I can change to a variable value. If I wanted to change the power indication from millivolts to microvolts to dBm, I select it on the right-hand side. In this case, I'm going to do dBm. I can choose how the power measurement is completed, whether it's a peak or an average. Again, I'm going to stay with the peak. I'm actually going to change the variable back to the preset value because it's more common. So once we've configured the test, we hit the exit at the top left of the screen. We're back to our main test page. On the left-hand side, if I select the frequency by pushing the box with the frequency value in it, I can select a preset frequency. In this case, I'm going to select the 174 MHz. For the power, I'm going to take this down a little bit, so I'm going to make this 10 dBm. The deviation, I'm going to leave that at 30 Hz, but I can change it if I would like to by pressing that value, and I can change it to whatever value I require. The ident, I can select this. This is an ident audio tone that will be transmitted with the signal to the aircraft. You can switch it off completely. You can have it as a 1 kHz continuous tone or a Morse code. We transmit LSB in Morse code. I am going to set this to the code. So now I'm transmitting on 174 MHz with an output power from the ARTS of 10 dBm. The deviation of the signal is 30 Hz, and I am sending a Morse ident code. On the right hand side of the screen, you can see our RX-TX switch. In normal circumstances, the ARTS will always start as a receiver, so it's listening for an aircraft, but it can be very simply switched using that button to TX. Below that you have the frequency indicator, the power, and the audio frequency. That's the information received from the aircraft. So to run the test, I hit the Start Test button at the very bottom. The ARTS is now in receive mode on the 174 MHz signal. At this point, you would be in the cockpit, the radio would be tuned to 174 MHz, and you would push the PTT, the push to talk button, and hold it. When that happens, the ARTS receives the signal, and it will display the frequency, an estimation of the power if we're over an antenna, and the audio frequency transmitted. When you release the PTT, the aircraft is now in receive mode, so we hit the TX at the middle of our top screen there. That becomes green. Now I'm transmitting my signal from the ARTS to the aircraft, and the audio that would be heard in the aircraft speaker or on the aircraft headset would be the LSB Morse code ident signal. So that's simply how we test an FM COM radio. Stop the test at the bottom, and then exit back out to the main COM menu and back to the main test function menu.